Everything you see here is strictly informational. This is not a channel for you to be taking financial advice from. I am not a financial advisor. I am not a broker. I am just a person that is here recording my journey about learning the markets along the way. So please do not consider me a financial advisor. Do not risk any more money than what you have. Do not be borrowing other people's money. Do not do anything stupid that you're going to regret later with your money. Alright, guys, what's up again? I am here with another evaluation. Not evaluation, analysis. Alright, today, this time, we are going to be talking about the S&P. I know a lot of you folks like to trade the S&P. I personally like to trade the S&P. I like to trade the S&P, gold, and whatever seems that can make me the most money the fastest. I am primarily a scalping trader. I'm not really a position trader. I'm not one of those people that has the heart that I can stay in a trade for a very long time unless I can analyze it very well. And that's not just something that's in my subset just yet, unfortunately. But I will go ahead and we'll talk about the S&P and see where we can go next with this. So first, I want to take a look back at the S&P, and two things I want to point out. One is going to be that this the orange dotted line. So the orange dotted line is going to represent this what was resistance for quite some time since pre-COVID. It seemed like it struggled here for a little bit back in December. Finally reached above it, and then we were able to stay above it, came back down, retested it, went back up. And it looks like we were heading in a good direction until we got the news of Coheed, right? Coheed, hello, COVID. I'm talking about my favorite band, Coheed. COVID. Then, of course, everything crashed. We made a V-shaped recovery. And it seemed like that point was acting again as resistance. We came up, we touched that line, went back down, came back up. And then the last 3 weeks, we struggled to get above it up until last week. Last week we finally broke above it, and we made, and this is last week here, if you're not knowing what I'm talking about, this blue line, that was last week. Finally it broke and closed above that orange dotted line. This week I wasn't for sure what was going to happen. I had a feeling it was either going to be a big pullback, since we did break above it, at least until that line, and then make a move up, or it could have continued going up. I think I said last week we were going to make a very big move in the very beginning of the month or very beginning of the week. We were going to move upwards, and that in fact did happen. So if we go to the daily, to the beginning of the week last week, as we were just, we crossed down, we went below that mark, and then we got up just above it. It happened at the last 4 hours of the day last Friday. And of course, we started off the week, and it just continued growing. And surprisingly, to my knowledge, or to my bewilderment, I guess you could say, we really didn't have many pullbacks that happened this week. But the ones that we did, I did capitalize on, just because you have to notify your points of support and resistance, place them there. If they hit it, good. If they don't, you didn't have the trade and move on. So what I will do is I will go on to my 4-hour assessment of this, or my other assessment of this. So if I go here, let's pull this over, and let's go to SPX. It'll probably give you what I have been marking up toward the end of the week. So this is the 4-hour chart of what had been happening toward the end of the week. I'm going to get rid of this Fibonacci here. And I'm going to get rid of this line here. Because obviously what we had found was a channel. It had broken into a channel starting at the very end of last week, moving into the beginning of this week. And that happened. So this was the big end of last week, this big drop. And then the last 4 hours, it decided to ascend above. We had a little bit of a pullback, and then we decided to continue moving upwards. So at that point, I was able to kind of identify a little bit of a channel, and we stayed in the top part of that channel ever since. Now, are we going to be able to stay in this channel? I don't know. I mean, we broke above it a little bit. Looks like we retested it, but then it kind of came back. And then I found that another resistance point, which I was able to, put in my buy and let it go, and then cashed out at the end of the week. So it looks like we do have a channel that is defined here. What level we are looking for next is probably going to be the level of that last high that we had back before pre-COVID. So I think it's around 3,400. Let's look at the high here. High here is 3398.2. So we are going to, and I think I have it already in my 4 hour. So if we go to my 4 hour, I believe it's right here, 3398, 3399, somewhere around there. That is going to be our next high that we are going to be probably targeting to reach. Unfortunately, I am out of this trade right now because I do believe we will probably see a little bit of a gap. I don't think we're going to see a gap up. I think we're going to see a gap down this time whenever the market starts. But I am going to go ahead and make this a solid line. And then I'm also going to make it a little bit thicker just so I know this is the target. If we dive in a little bit closer, get to, not to the 2 hour, we get to the 1 hour. Sorry, I do have a lot of lines in here that I was marking as support and resistance. But as you can see, as this channel formed, if you were just drawing your lines here, they were perfectly perpendicular to each other, and then it got above the median. Once it got above the median, the median kind of served as the lower point of the resistance. And then there would be times as soon as it would hit the top of the channel, kind of do a little bit of a sideways, come back down, hit the median. I can probably get rid of this one. I think I was trying to see that as a resistance, really wasn't, but that's where an entry level of mine was. Took it upwards until it started going sideways. Once it started going sideways, I got out, put another entry down here because I did see this part right here as a resistance area. Of course, it's going to change every time I do this, which is kind of annoying, but I like to use gold dotted lines as my my areas of resistance. Yeah, it doesn't need to be that thick. But I saw that, so of course I put my entrance just a little bit above, stop loss a little bit below, got that one. Moved on up. Again, it hit the top of the resistance. I thought it would move sideways. I didn't think there was potential for an upside again. And probably the main reason I was seeing that, I think I was looking at the 2 hour and looking at the divergence, and even though there really wasn't a whole lot, you could kind of still see we were on the upside of this, which maybe had a little bit too much strength. So I was telling it could probably give us a pullback at any moment. When I see a pullback, I usually get out of the trade and wait for a better entry. And that's pretty much what happened. Now this one was a little bit different. I saw the resistance is here around 33.37, and that's where I did enter Luckily, I had my I put a little bit more of a stop loss on this just because there was quite a bit of an area that was happening. But I entered here at this point just because of this line here. I wasn't thinking in terms of what was happening right through here, which was probably what I should have been looking at. Instead of seeing the strength coming out of this one, I should have been looking at what was actually happening. And that's probably where I should have put my line. Luckily, I gave myself enough time. And I didn't, especially with the numbers coming out toward the end of the week, with unemployment, NFP, those kind of things. I didn't give myself too much of room to make some profit, but I'm not going to lie, I put it at 33.34 whenever I entered around 33.36 or 33.44, and I entered around 33.46. So, I got about 80 pips out of it. Fairly decent lot size. I'm not going to, say it was my biggest win of the week, but it was still a good win. So now that we have this, and we do have some defined support resistance areas, I don't think this is one here. This was just kind of like a play area. There's not really much happening in between this, this 33.54 down to this 33.30 area. You really can't define a support and resistance there to see where it's going to come back to. But I do think, if anything, what I'm going to set my sights on is this area here. See if it's going to, come back down and use this middle part of the channel as a resistance area, as well as, it's also going to be in the same area as that part that I saw as resistance before. Move that out of the way, which was the top of these here that would, come up, touch, reject. That might be the same area that I'm looking at as the new support. Even though this 33.30 was support, I think this 33.37 area, 33.38 might be the next one. As long as it's going to happen around this time, which is going to be sometime tomorrow. So today I'm just going to play it out, wait and see what happens, and see if it continues to follow this. Like I said, I think there's probably going to be a little bit of a gap below. I think it ended very strong. I think people are going to probably sell as soon as the market opens here in a couple hours. And it's probably going to still continue moving sideways. And then hopefully by, the morning, probably over in the, the English session or the London session, is probably when we might see this dip come down and hit this and continue on. Now, I could be completely wrong. We could see a bigger dip than what I'm expecting. If we go ahead and check out Forex Factory, let's see what we got going on for the week. Nothing as far as today is concerned. Monday, really not a whole lot happening. Tuesday seems like we're gonna have some news for the New Zealand dollar. That won't happen till later that night, so you might be wanting to set your eyes on NZD USD. Finding good entries for that. Wednesday, see some Australian news, some British news, a little bit of some USD news, some consumer price index stuff. That usually doesn't do a whole lot. What I have noticed is that these numbers really don't affect it. They do affect it in a way as what's going to happen an hour beforehand. That's what happened this past week. Every time something that was going to happen in the news, there was a big sell-off an hour beforehand. So if you're going to be in a good position, you're in a good high position, something negative might come out in the news. Start watching to see if it's going to start to drop about an hour, hour and a half beforehand, maybe even 30 minutes. If so, position yourself for a short sell, and then position yourself for a buy afterwards. But long term, I think we're going to see a good SPX movement. What I was going to refer to earlier is the channel. Now, what I think some people are looking at is this channel here, dating back, to 2016, where we had a fairly low point, and then you have this dip here. I really don't. I think this is just a little bit of a disturbance in the market, because to expect it to kind of grow this way. I mean, it could grow this way at this point, but as you can see, we're already way back up here. We're almost way back up in the highs. To think the market is going to come all the way back down, I think is a little bit naive. I think I'm a little bit more bullish than that. I think we're going to see more something along the lines of this, just because we do have multiple touches on this line versus just the one touch here and the one touch here. So I do think we are going to see more of an exponential growth, or a growth along this area here. And if we see, the top channel as being kind of any indicator of that, it also kind of moves that way. Or if you want to say it's a little bit out of balance, we did go too fast, too quick here at the beginning. I see that kind of as a possibility too, just because we do have multiple touch points all along through here. So if anything, we're going to get close, and I think that 33 or the 3400 mark that we're going to place here, it's going to kind of be close to this channel. Maybe if we bend the channel sideways a little bit, who knows. It's going to be nearing the top of this channel, as well as also this resistance area. So I would say expect some resistance, some fight back on that, and maybe a pullback. Probably not too big of a pullback. If we're going to look at this, let's get into the 4 hour of it. 3 hour, 4 hour, same thing. I would think that if we are going to see somewhat of a pullback, it could be any one of these zones. I mean, there's just a lot of accumulation, and then a little bit of distribution, accumulation, distribution. I mean, there's no big sideways accumulation that we've been having. It's just been a good steady growth, which is, signs of a healthy economy. How much of that is going to be propped up by the Fed is a good question. But as you can see, it just kind of it's been doing what kind of gold did earlier a couple weeks ago, to where it would find a support resistance zone, jump, find a new support in the resistance zone, jump, find a new one, and then it's probably happening again. Except for this time, I think we're probably going to see a little bit of pullback, probably to that old support resistance zone, and then continue on upwards. Like I said, I'm not for sure if it's going to pull back to the middle of this channel. But this what I have here marked out is not the same as this channel here. These are two completely different channels, so make sure you don't get those mixed up. This channel is one that formed this week. This channel is one that has been going on for a couple years. So just also keep that in mind as well. But like I said, I do think we're going to see a little bit of a gap downwards. I think we're going to see some sideways accumulation up until about Monday, and then we'll see what's going to happen Monday. Not a whole lot of news happening this week, so I don't expect a whole lot of big moves. Even though there wasn't a whole lot of big moves this week, we're probably getting back into unless the talks of the stimulus are going in. Monday could be a good day, just because Trump signed the executive order, relieving people of struggling to pay bills and whatnot. So we're gonna see a little bit more money in people's hands. Could help stimulate the economy. Unfortunately, that's going to mean a little bit more taxes for all of us. But I would see a little bit more of a jump in this, and I do think we probably will reach that high that we hit of what was it, 3340, right there, 3400, I should say, and then see some pushback from there, and then we'll continue on. So can this this channel meets this high somewhere around the 11th of August, which is only a couple days away. So we could see it happen by Tuesday. We could see it happen earlier, but I would expect that we are going to see this high soon. So I would say find a good position. I myself am looking at this one right here, somewhere around this 337 mark. Probably going to happen on Monday, and I'm just going to let it ride from there and see what happens. But again, new high coming. See what's going to happen. Draw this channel out and see what you guys think. And we'll see what happens this week. If you have any comments, please do not hesitate to put them below and let me know what you think. All right. Well, good luck everybody this week, and I shall all see you soon.